Hi, I'm Nick Compass, Director of Instruction at Santa Ana Country Club. One of the biggest faults that I see in a general golf swing is coming over the top. And what I mean by that is somebody gets set up, they make their backswing, and on their downswing, their body and club come way over this way. So they're almost kind of swinging from like 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So again, they get here and they get going this way, okay? One of those reasons is that can happen. It might have to do with something with your body. And we've all heard the term, hey, when you get up to the top of your swing, when you get to the top of your backswing, hey, you've got to try to rotate your hips or you've got to fire your hips. And when you fire your hips, guess what happens? And we're going to talk about this. Your upper body goes with it and gets going across too much, okay? So I'm going to put a picture up of Rory McIlroy about halfway in his downswing, and we're going to see one of the things that he has that you may not have is what's called disassociation between the upper body and their lower body, okay? So when he fires his hips, he's actually able to keep his upper body back a little bit so the club can come down inside. And what I mean by that, I'm going to show it one more time. If I don't have disassociation, we're going to test it here in a second. If I make a backswing and I go to fire my hips and my shoulders come with it, guess where this club comes? Over the top and across, okay? So maybe you're somebody who can't fire your hips. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little test right here, okay? So you're going to get set up, okay? You're going to get in your posture, maybe for like about a 5 or 6 iron. You're going to put your arms across. And what you're going to do here at first is you're going to keep your shoulders still and you're going to rotate your hips, okay? So I'm trying to keep my shoulders as quiet as possible. I'm getting my hips, and I know they're moving tiny a bit, but I'm getting my hips, my pelvis to turn. I'm going to turn this way so you can kind of see it. Again, my shoulders are staying still, but you can see how my pelvis, my hips are turning, okay? And for me, I'm doing it as a righty swing right now. Hey, going through is the big part there, okay? So again, when I stand here, I'll going forward. Hey, my shoulders are staying still, and this hip is able to rotate some. You can see how my pelvis bone has kind of moved there, okay? Now, the second part of that is I'm going to do the same setup, but this time I'm going to keep my hips quiet, and I'm going to turn my shoulders, okay? So my hips are staying quiet, and I'm turning my shoulders. Now, most people, because we sit at a desk all day or we're not getting to be active, hey, our body's not going to disassociate with that, and they're going to go together. So usually when I have somebody and I test somebody like this, most of us will fail somewhat at this, and the main one that I usually see is I say, hey, keep your shoulders quiet and move your hips, and it kind of looks like this, okay? And we can see how everything's moving. So that would be somebody that would be a fail at it. So the way that you can test this is, hey, look in the mirror and do that. First part again is shoulders are going to stay quiet, and can I turn my hips? Okay, second part is keep my hips quiet, and can I turn just my shoulders? So now how does that go into the golf swing? Okay, so again, if we look at a swing like a Rory McIlroy, or again, who's probably the best at it, at that disassociation, which allows him to hit the ball so far for being not a big guy, when he gets up to the top of his swing, okay, his shoulders, and I'm going to put this picture up there again, when he starts down, his shoulders stay closed or stay looking at maybe at about 1 o'clock as his hips start to open and rotate, okay? And this right shoulder kind of stays back and in, okay? That's how he gets coming from the inside, even though his lower body's turning, okay? Again, that is great if I can disassociate. If I can't, and you go to fire those hips again, guess what? That club's coming over the top because your shoulders can't stay back. So, kind of got two options here. Hey, I can work on my body and try to get a little better with that disassociation so I can feel like my shoulders stay back as my lower body moves, okay? Notice how my chest is kind of staying looking back. One of the other good ways you can kind of think about it was the Jack Nicklaus one is he had a logo, his Golden Bear logo on his shirt here, his left chest. And when he would make his downswing, his goal was to try to keep that Golden Bear logo looking back behind the ball as he started down. So you can see here when I'm doing that, look how this club's coming from the inside now. And my body, even though my lower body's going, my upper body's staying looking back. Okay, so that's one way if I can work on my body and get a little bit better at that. The second way is, hey, even if my body's not great at that, I've got to then adjust what kind of my thought is or what I'm trying to do with my body in my swing. Okay, and what I mean by that is when we make a backswing, instead of me trying to fire my hips, I got to feel like this whole right side stays back a little bit as
full turn in the backswing. And the biggest tip, feel as if your hands drop into your right hand pocket as you rotate through the shot.
You don't want that club coming over the top to begin with. So again, if I struggle with that disassociation, I'm going to do a little bit with this alignment stick. So if this is kind of going straight at my target, that big tree, I'm going to kind of point this one over at 1 o'clock. So I got 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. I've got to feel, again, if I'm not good with that disassociation, when I start down, I've got to almost feel like my hips and my shoulders are kind of staying pointed at that 1 o'clock here to start down. Then I can let everything go. And usually what happens is somebody who struggles with that disassociation, it's at the top of the swing, right away they get going here. And you can see how now all of a sudden my shoulders are square. So if you slice the golf ball, if you kind of have some weaker drives and you want to try to hit more of a draw, or just hit it solid and just get it going straighter and not come over the top, that's what we've got to figure out. Hey, is my body kind of the issue of what's going on there? And I can't match up to that firing of the hips because of what my body's doing. And again, last time there, I want to feel, if I can't do that, I'm trying to feel like my hips and shoulders are both looking at 1 o'clock as I start the downswing. You can see how this stays looking back a little bit. I can get that club coming from the inside and then swing on through. So give yourself a test on that. If you want to ask me about that, send me an email. We can test it for you and see if, hey, is there something going on with your body, like that disassociation, that's causing an issue in your golf swing? And again, like I said, we can either work on it a little bit or we can adjust our swing slightly to be able to manage that, but we can get that club coming more from the inside and stop that over the top move.